All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 9th. Some beautiful spring skiing out there. You've tuned into the Board of County Commissioners regular meeting, and it is just exactly noon. So we're going to start. I'll call the meeting to order with the question, are there any additions or deletions to today's agenda?
There are none.
Okay. We'll now move to public comment. For those in the audience who are here, please limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes. Please come forward, MZ, and give us your name just formally for the record.
Formally.
Formally.
My nomenclature is MZ Veazey III.
Thank you.
There was a Governor Veazey of Maryland back in the early 1800s, where I come from. Okay, anyway, let's get down to brass tacks. Your District 5, yes, sir. They're deprived. They're deprived of participating in these government meetings that you have up here in Aspen. I say to you, you do what Beverly Hills has done for years now. Let them call up to the meeting and talk with you telephonically, and so that the TV audience can also hear them too. Beverly Hills has been doing it for years. Why deprive your electorate, all right, of their duties, their responsibilities, their feelings? Because of distance, you have technology. Now, oh, don't worry, it can be done, all right? You have TV cameras, everything else. Forget about the streaming thing. They need to talk to you right here, real time. All right, next. Wouldn't it be cheaper, all right, dollar-wise, to build some kind of library over there in Redstone or somewhere like that? Wouldn't it be cheaper? Wouldn't labor be cheaper? Materials be cheaper? Don't they need a library? I say, oh, and remember, this library over here gets rid of thousands of books almost every year. Fill up the library over there beside Snowman's Village. I remember one year this library got rid of 10,000 books. 10,000. Wow. Books that could still have been used over and over. Even a high school Latin book of mine, I didn't take it out soon enough. I was going to review my Latin from high school. All right, what I'm asking you to do is, come on now. Somehow get the money up. Give the electorate their services. All right, come on now. Let's not be selfish that way. Now, the last thing, too. If possible, would you allow Mr. Brian Paul, P-A-W-L, if I'm saying his name right, or however it might be. All right, he's your chief building official, all right, in terms of community development. Well, he gave a very good presentation this morning. A very good one. However, you have to remember his duties, all right, in his department are pivotal, not only to Pitkin County, but to the economy of the Roaring Fork Valley and the I-70 corridor. All I'm asking you to do is let him have a chance to talk with the CPAs and also with the bankers, to get them together. See, he's already talked with the guys that are in their building. But you remember, when it comes to the economy, the CPAs, and he's talking about at times he's going to have to audit these guys too. All right, so CPAs are important because it's their clients he's dealing with, and also the bankers. Remember, we have large banking portfolios of what? Real estate loans. And the economy eventually will tank in some way. So all I'm asking, and he touches on a lot because he's dealing in terms of people, you think out there of a flat tax, this is a flat fee. All right, but what I'm asking you, give him a chance to also speak with the CPAs, all right, in this economic geography, and also the bankers too. I'm sure they will be willing to attend because this is going to affect their businesses. Well, look, you have other things to get on to, and as Ben Franklin said, time is money, and hopefully the 5th District will get what it's supposed to have rightfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oops. You know, I should clarify that the library we have here is part of the smaller library district, and Redstone and those lower communities are not taxpayers and not part of this library district. There is, of course, the Basalt Library, as you know, and you've raised something we certainly can look into, talking to the community of Redstone and see if they have a place where they would like to have some borrowed books or
We
something
used
like
to
that.
do that. We used
Yeah.
to have a little library depot thing in Redstone, and with the new Carbondale Library, I think that's where most of the people in the outlying districts go, the Basalt or
Yeah,
Carbondale
but
Library.
those are not just generally in Pickens County as much as they are a special district. Just for clarification. Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate you attending the meeting. Is there anyone else here with public comment today? Please come forward.
Thank you. For the record, Stan Clausen. I'm coming forward as president of the American Planning Association Colorado chapter to tell you some good news that you may know already.
Okay.
That your community development director, Cindy Hubin, has been named a fellow of the American Institute of Certified Planners. And you can be very proud of her because that's a very high honor in the planning profession. And so I wanted to pass that on and suggest that you congratulate her when you get a chance.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to the public's attention as well. Patty?
Can I ask, does she have any kind of a plaque or anything that we could do a presentation at one of our meetings? And
She will be inducted as a fellow at the Phoenix Conference, which is at the end of April.
we should keep
I'm
that.
sorry, at the end of March and beginning of April.
We should keep that in, and when she gets back. if
And she will certainly have a certificate that she can present publicly, and you could have
We need to
a
do
ceremony
that.
of some sort.
Yeah,
Great.
thanks, Stan, for letting
Really,
us know.
thank you for taking the time out,
Yeah.
letting the public know. That's great. Okay, we will now move on to commissioner comments.
I have.
Patty?
I just want to say that it's kind of exciting to see the bulbs starting to come up and green stuff. Jeanette and I have been comparing notes. She's got a little more green coming up at her house than I do at mine. But I think everybody's getting ready for spring. We should still expect snow in March. We're hoping for more snow because we need it to continue us through the season. But I welcome everybody to keep an eye out for those bulbs and blossoms coming out in your neighborhoods. So welcome and enjoy.
From springtime. George or Michael? Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, I probably should update the board briefly. We had our Northwest Council of Governments Water Quality and Quantity Commission last week on Thursday in Silverthorne, and their former chair has resigned as a county commissioner, and so I was elected chair of that
great, Rachel.
organization, so I've moved up, and Tom Clark, the mayor of Kremling, is going to be vice chair. So
Great.
we have a municipal and county perspective on these
Congrats,
issues.
you work hard.
So that's very good. We'll move on to the consent items. These are the first item would be the minutes of February 24th, regular meeting, the December 15th and August 18th special meetings, and work sessions of February 2nd and 16th. The second item will be ambulance license, but I'd like to take these separately so we have a little more discussion about the ambulance license. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as I described?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, second item is the ambulance license for the year. And Phyllis, if you'd like to give us a little background on that item, we'll move from there.
Sure.
Please come forward if you'd like as well.
Richard Cornelius, who is the chair of the Emergency Medical Trauma Advisory Council, the MTAC, which you, the commissioners last year, provided the oversight of all the ambulance inspections of the vehicles, and we also did a cleanup of the county code that identified licensing the services that the agencies provide versus permitting the vehicles. And I distributed a letter that came from Richard, which is the recommendations, and we have those prepared.
Okay.
So if you have questions, Richard really knows the details of how it all works.
And as you were telling me that we license the agencies and then the agencies permit the, or there's a difference between permitting and licensing. Why don't you go over that a little bit?
County commissioners do both,
Okay.
but it's a license that goes to the agencies to provide ambulance services, and the vehicles are permitted to be an ambulance. And then need to meet the requirements for the ambulance standards that are set by the Colorado rules and regulations.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions on this item?
No, thanks for
Okay.
bringing it forward.
And thanks for.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, well, let's get the motion first.
I'll do a motion to approve the 2016 ambulance service licensing and ambulance vehicle permits.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much
for
for coming out.
Commissioners.
We really appreciate it, and we wish a safe year for all of you and your men. The next item on our agenda is an individual consideration item. The first reading will be, is now, but it's going to be to set for the public hearing on March 23rd. This is the 2016 Annual Operating and Financial Plan for the USDA Forest Service. Ron Ryan is here to present that for us from the Sheriff's Office. Welcome.
Good afternoon. This is, as you know, our annual agreement with the Forest Service between the Sheriff's Office and Pitkin County, which benefits both of us. They give us funds to patrol Forest Service roads in Pitkin County and also give them access as a backup to our dispatch center, as well as access for us to their ATVs and their Forest Service boat.
That's pretty handy.
I have a question.
Patty?
First of all, I understand the need, and I think it's great that we are able to do this. I do have concerns about LEO enforcement from past history, from many years ago, as I think you will remember. I have not heard of those issues coming up again as far as the LEOs cruising campgrounds, illegally searching cars, etc. So it seems to me that it's worked out, and I think it's better that enforcement be done locally, because I think the deputies, the Sheriff's Office has a better handle on these issues. So I'm glad to see this come forward. There's only one correction on the document itself. Just need to put in Rachel's name on page 7 instead of Steve's.
I can just scratch it off and sign it.
Scratch it off and sign.
It's okay. I was vice chair before, so I was signing for him a lot.
Yeah, but and other than that, though, I think that I think this is a good idea, and I'm glad we're able to do it with the Forest Service.
And I understand your concerns, Patty, and we've had conversations with them specifically as it relates to enforcement of marijuana that's been decriminalized in Colorado and not necessarily at the federal level. And they're being very open about the changes that are happening, not just in Colorado, but the rest of the U.S. that way. So I think we're all on the same page at this
Great.
point with that.
Good, thank you.
Very good. George?
I've got a couple of questions. On the list where you have the patrol activities, the roads broken out by different districts, you have the Aspen Ranger District, the Silvers Ranger District. So my question is, for example, the Silvers Ranger District, you've got Prince Creek Road as a Forest Service road, but I believe that's a county road.
Some of them are both Forest Service and county roads. And some of these most of these we'd be patrolling in some form regardless. This is just an agreement that we do more effort on those roads that are still in Pitkin County. Some are county roads, but also Forest Service roads.
Okay, and then my other question is, in terms of where you're going to patrol some certain campgrounds and developed sites and dispersed areas, maybe this is still in the working, but I thought that you were going to have an agreement with the Forest Service to do some patrolling up at the North Star Wildwood Put-in as well.
That I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. Let's, I'm trying to think. That is something that Open Space and Trails and Gary Tenenbaum have been working with. I guess I'm not entirely sure if it had to have been on the Forest Service property or just general commitment to be up there more often to watch for people parking illegally along the side of the road and other things like that. I'm kind of wondering whether we need to go ahead and pass this if it's on a timeline, or whether we can wait 2 weeks and see if that needs to be added to it, or if it's something that really doesn't need to be added to this agreement to happen, or could be added as an addendum. I don't know what others might be thinking.
I brought this up recently with the Open Space and Trails with Gary, and it's still in the discussion stage, is my understanding. They're still working on it. So if we can clarify the status of that, I think we can move it forward today, clarify the status of that.
And that could be an
I
addendum
think
to
it's
this,
still
if-
down the line somewhere that's going to be worked out. So that, I know they're working on it, but I don't think it's close to being finalized.
That's a good question, George. Would you be comfortable if we move this forward
Yeah,
today and then
this is just
anything
the
else
first
be an
reading,
addendum?
so.
Okay, so let's try to check into that aspect of this for the second reading. and see if there's even just a reference to ongoing discussions or anything. John?
So Ron, this is just for 2016?
Yes.
The term that's identified in the first paragraph of the IGA is January 1, 2015. So that should be changed.
Okay.
We'll change that.
So this is a first reading, and it would then be set for public hearing on March 23rd. Are there any other comments for corrections or improvements to the document?
No, do a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Patty has moved, Michael has seconded. Any further discussion? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for working on this and keeping us safe while we're having fun out there for the summer season.
Can I add something real quick since we
Please
have
do,
Ron
Patty.
here? Ron, just real quick, we are still working on getting you to come before the board at a work session to discuss with us your experiences with the FBI.
Yeah.
So we're going to be contacting you about getting you on
I
our
don't think I
agenda.
can share that with you. It's classified.
But that
Let
was,
me know. I'm happy to do whatever you'd like.
You can talk about the movies or something.
yeah, we were very proud that you were invited for that additional training,
Yeah.
and we'd love to hear what they had to
was a
say
great
about
honor
it.
to
And
go.
while we're on tangential items, it does remind me that we should make sure we have our Forest Service quarterly meeting scheduled soon. I've been reading that they're doing a study about which recreational areas they will need to decommission because of the lack of funding. And so they're starting to tell people which areas they won't be able to keep open. And, I don't know that we will or won't be able to participate in any way to really change that, but perhaps we can if there's some specific areas.
Yeah.
But the sooner the better, so the public knows before the season. Thanks again, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
2
Ron.
weeks. Thank you. Okay, the next item is a land use item. It is a public hearing, but we have a request by the applicant to continue the item until March 13th. This item is the Lot 20 Little Cloud LLC site plan review and major amendments to a development permit. It is a public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing.
It was moved to
April 13th.
April 13th, sorry. And we haven't actually made the motion to move it yet, but it is a public hearing, so if anyone wants to comment on that before we move to continue it, they're being done. I will close that public hearing. And Suzanne, did you have anything to add to this?
move to continue.
Okay, Michael moves to continue to March 13th. Patty has seconded. All-
April 13th.
April. I don't know why I keep doing that. April 13th.
All right.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That has been moved. And we're now on our last land use item, and this is an ordinance accepting the covenant for maintenance of a debris flow mitigation from the Celestial Land Company Limited. First reading.
So the request from Celestial Land Company, this was to comply with the condition of the approval from 2013, when they were granted activity envelope and site plan review approval for property off of Marine Creek Road on Bulkley Drive. And if you remember, it was a significant debris flow basin, a trough, there was avalanche mitigation, all of that was really tied into this basin where debris would drain into, and to make sure that that gets maintained over time so it doesn't just fill up and then have impacts on neighboring properties. So the condition here, I included in the memo, but required, the language in there was an easement. We have since worked on another similar document, and I think John can speak more specifically, if you'd like, to that, why the form of it is as a covenant versus some other type of document. But basically, we used the format that was created for the Little Cloud Lot 2, which was just recently approved this fall, I think in October, for the same type of a document, of a covenant. And that was the basis for this document, to address the debris flow mitigation and the ongoing maintenance of that. So we're just here today. This has to be accepted by ordinance. So this is the first reading, and it's set for second reading on the 23rd of March.
Michael?
Suzanne, I couldn't find any maps, because it's hard for me to know what you're talking about without a map.
I didn't
because
include a map.
We talked about some debris flow near the proposed house. We talked about some debris flow away from, so So I'd like to have a map in the second reading that shows exactly what we're asking for.
Yep, and I had actually, I didn't include that in the packet, but I had noted that to include as an attachment to the covenant, that there should be a map showing, which will basically be the site plan, which provides the detail on these structures that are going to be built. So we can include that at second reading.
Okay. Thank you. George?
So, I thought I saw this, but I wasn't sure. Well, I did. So this is a limited easement to Pickens County for inspection and maintenance. So why would the impetus would be on Pickens County to do the maintenance versus did I misread this? Am I misreading this? Okay, that's what I thought. So,
Impetus is on the property owner or the current property owner's successor in ownership. And if there's a failure, then the county has the ability to remedy and recoup its funds or expenses.
so it wouldn't be necessarily the county doing the work, but the county would sub that out and then bill the homeowner for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I was going to ask, or just kind of restate that clarification. This is similar to others in that we can inspect to make sure it's properly functioning, that it's been cleared out after a debris flow event, and so that it continues to serve its purpose. But we are neither building it in the first place or would maintain it later unless that hasn't happened, and then we have the bonding to assure that we would be repaid, but that the neighbors would be protected because it would be kept in a functioning manner.
Right. It's to ensure that there is a perpetuity to a requirement that ordinarily would cease to have an enforcement ability after a CO or occupancy of a structure that has been permitted.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Stan, would you like to?
No, I have nothing to add. I think the memo is thorough enough, and the actual document is based on one that you prepared for another project, and it's been vetted by both Celestial's attorney and the county attorney, so I believe it's ready to move forward.
Okay. Patty?
Yeah, I have a couple things. On page 1, you keep referring to from time to time. I'm not quite sure what that means. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a vague terminology for me. From time to time, well, I do once every 5 years, I do once every year, or just from time to time. Is there anything more? Can you explain to me what that means?
I don't think I can. Having really had no authorship of the document.
Yeah.
Again, I think John was involved with the one for Little Cloud, which again was this format. So,
Yeah. So look at the county attorney.
I'm going to say it's more legal language than planner language.
It's to allow for inspection and assessment without any specific periodicity.
So you can come
related to it.
anytime. Okay. And the other question I have, and probably for you too, on page 3, number 6, it says running with the land, and I'm assuming land title, it's just running with the ownership. Whoever would own this in the future, this covenant runs with that.
Right.
So if it's Joe Smith or Joe Brown, it runs with that.
The obligation continues beyond current ownership.
Perfect. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we will see a map next time, and that map will also kind of have what the actual debris flow structures are, or how it's going to be contained.
Great.
Thank you very much. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel, I think you made
Very much.
history.
Well, I think whoever the schedulers were. Open discussion. Do we have the one letter from Caro coming down for the board to see if they're comfortable with the letters on Kerry Donovan's broadband bill we discussed yesterday during open discussion?
Get that new
I
computer.
don't think she thought you would be done this quick.
Okay. Well,
Well, you know, if Rachel sees it, it's fine with me.
That's how I feel too.
okay, I did see it this morning, and it looked fine, and,
Yeah.
it says,
Let's sign it and get it off.
Would you send me a copy? I'm probably going to stop in St. Carrie's going to be in DeSault on Saturday with Millie Hamner
right,
and Diane
that would be great.
Bush, so I'd like to have that in hand, and then as part of open discussion, if there's anything else that you think should be relevant that I should be bringing forward to either to Millie or to Carrie, that would be good.
Where are they going to be?
I'll have to look.
Would you send me that? Because I didn't know they were going to be around.
I saw something yesterday, but I knew I was out of town for the weekend. So
Yeah.
I'll look. I don't know if it's a town hall, but I'll
If you could send it to me, that'd be great, because I might be down that way this weekend, and I'll go by.
Yeah, I do
Okay,
think
so
it's.
we'll get it to
I'd actually like to do that.
Okay. The other item would be the health insurance rating districts bill that we're going to be bringing forward that we discussed yesterday, that Dan Gibbs has submitted. That's of particular interest to us at this time. And I don't know, Phyllis, if you want to forward that kind of email thread to George that had kind of some of the detailed discussion that's gone on. It's more the background as they were trying to look around for ways to bring this problem to light and potential solutions.
Okay.
That would be really helpful.
Great.
Any other open discussion from board members?
This could be a record.
Yeah,
I know,
I was going to say, there being none.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
George,
Thank
you got an hour.
Thank you,
You got an hour.
grassroots.